Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new day of Road to TT World 2019. Toronto Regionals just happened. I'm just getting back home and I wanted to record this video for you guys. I'm sure most of you saw that Night March ended up winning the event. Jimmy Pendarvis won his 4th regional just this season alone, where last season he didn't win any regional and the season before he won 1. And now he's won 4. Half of the regionals, basically, I think, have been won by Jimmy Pendarvis, which is honestly very impressive. Huge congratulations to him. I'm always rooting for him at events. Really cool and friendly guy. I'm really happy he won. And so, Night March, definitely an unexpected deck. The Toronto meta was honestly all over the place. It felt like everyone was like, Pikarom gathered so much hype that everyone ended up countering Pikarom rather than playing it. So there were quite a decent number of Pikaroms, but there were so many counters. There was so much fighting types. Trev as well had techs for Pikarom, so Pikarom essentially was hated out of the tournament, which makes sense, seeing how there were so many counters. And Night March ended up winning the whole thing, beating 2 Trevenants, which supposedly has a good matchup against it, but without Wally, now Night March always gets at least 1 turn of item cards, and obviously Jimmy was able to make the best use out of that turn, that single turn, and he was able to pull off some really incredible wins. If you guys haven't watched the games, I really recommend you do watch them, because it's really incredible how he managed to pull those games off. And then the final also was a pretty entertaining couple of games to watch. And so for those of you who don't know what Night March does exactly, I'm sure a lot of you will be happy that this deck is still quite viable, although you would expect Oricorio and Giratina promo to be played at least for the foreseeable future. But we do have 4 Joltik, 30 HP only, but it does have the attack Night March, which deals 20 damage times the number of Pokemon in your discard pile that have Night March attack, that have the Night March attack. For a double colorless energy, Pumpkaboo has the exact same thing, except it has it for 3 colorless energy. However, they do play 1 Dimension Valley, which reduces the attack cost by 1, which means for Psychic Pokemon, which means you can use it for ATC. Honestly, just a single Dimension Valley is something I'd be very scared of, but it clearly worked out for Jimmy. We also have the Lampents, which, even though we're not using them to evolve, we just want to discard them because they do have the Night March attack. And that way, if you have 11 out of your 12 Night Marchers in your discard pile, you can deal 220 damage, and then you have a choice band to deal up to 250, and you even have Electro Powers. Electro Power with Joltik does work. You get to deal 30 extra damage for Joltik, and so that allows you to make up for some of the numbers that you might need to hit. We do have Marshall GX with its ability Shadow Hunt, which can copy any attack for a basic Pokemon as long as it can pay for it, and obviously you can copy Joltiks. And now you have a really big Night Marcher, 150 HP, and the fighting type, which is really useful against Zoroark. And then we have 1 Tapu Lele, 1 Marshadow, and 2 Shaman EX for support in order to draw extra cards, along with a Oranguru to stabilize after you get End down to 2 or 1. Supporters wise, we have a very thin 3 Juniper, 1 N, 1 Guzman, 1 Teammates. However, we do have 4 VS Seekers, 4 Battle Compressors as well, and we have a bunch of acceleration with the Marshadow, the Shaman, the Oranguru, and the Lele, along with 4 Trainer's Mail. So, and 3 order pads, so we have plenty of ways to find those resources, make sure we are using Sycamore every turn, finding the cards we need, and we also have some utility in the Electro Powers, in the Rescue Stretcher, in the Special Charge, Field Blower, Escape Rope, and we even have Dowsing Machine as our spec of choice, because we can reuse any of those cards, no matter which one we need, in order to have access to a second copy. So basically you're playing 2 copies of all your singles purely because of Dowsing Machine. For the stadiums, we have one Silent Lab to counter Circuitry GX and just an overall good stadium to drop after you have used your turn 1 abilities. Parallel City also helps in removing the shamans that you did end up playing at any point, and Dimension Valley obviously helps Pumpkaboo attack. Now, the whole thing that makes the deck work is actually the 4 Battle Compressors. You get to search your deck for up to 3 cards and you discard them, so you not only do you thin the deck, but you actually power up your attacker. So Battle Compressor is one of the most important, or the most important card in this deck for it to work. And finally we have the 4 double colorless energies. So how about we take the deck for a spin. Obviously, if you guys want to see how the deck works, there's no better resource than the actual live stream of the tournament, where you can see the champion use the deck. But we might as well try and play a few games. This might be the mirror match. I think I saw the lightning fighting psychic, although with no colorless, then it's probably not a mirror match. We'll see. It might be Trevenant. Well, I guess we'll find out. But just to give you guys a little bit of a taste of what the deck will usually look like. So we have an interesting hand. Because we have the Dimension Valley and the DCE, I'm actually gonna go ahead and start the Pumpkaboo and probably bench the Joltik as well. Yeah, because we are going second. We did lose a coin flip. My opponent starts a basic, which obviously he doesn't need to. Right? I do, because I'm going second, and we are up against a Buzzgarb Shrine with Jirachi, which, as you guys saw from my upload on Saturday, that was the main deck I was considering using until the night before the event. I decided to switch to Lightning. Been using Lightning for Standard for quite a while, so I figured I might as well stick with it. In hindsight, Pikarom I think would have been a better decision with the Circuitry. If I had played the Circuitry GX, then it would have been a really wise decision, perhaps even better than using Zapdos. But I felt good about my deck choice. I started 4-0, which completely added to my confidence in the deck. And then rounds 5 and 6 I faced against 2 Hitmonchan decks, which usually felt like decent matchups. Obviously the players I faced were really good, and in the end there were a couple of key turns in which I was not able to find an energy, and in both of those turns, like if I had found an energy in each of those turns, both of the games would have turned, instead of a loss and a tie, they would have become a win and a win. So that was what essentially ruined my day. We do see that 2 Lampents and 1 Pumpkaboo and 1 Joltik are prized, so we have 4 prized Nightmares, but it's not that big a deal, honestly, because it's really not a big deal, because my opponent's Pokemons have so low HP. Because my opponent started Jirachi and he does have resistance, I actually might not be able to get a KO here, but I'm still gonna go ahead. Juniper not playing the Electro Power, it's not gonna make a difference here. I have double Trainer's Mail to try and find another compressor, and the order pad can help me in finding that compressor. So let's go ahead and play it. We do flip tails, so let's go ahead and Trainer's Mail. No battle compressor over here. However, I will be able to grab a Shaman, right, in order to try and get some more cards in the discard pile. Basically a couple of Nightmares so that I can get the turn 1 knockout. That is our mission right here. We are a non-GX deck versus a non-GX deck. I do have an option to, there we go, we flip heads on the order pad, that is awesome. So we can Battle Compressor away more resources. Now, the sad part here is that I'm going to be left with very few attackers, right? And, well, I'm going to have to, I probably should have discarded Teammates, actually. That was really silly. I should have discarded Teammates because I do have triple VS Seeker, so I could have just VS Seeker for Teammates every single turn. Now it's going to have to be for a... for an N, which is not ideal, but I really can't afford to discard all my VS Seekers. Still, 4 of my 5 prizes are Nightmares, so that's really not great for us. We'll have to see what happens here. Definitely discarding the teammates might be a very, very costly mistake. If my stadium doesn't get replaced, then I could be fine. It also helps that Pumpkaboo does have resistance to fighting, so Pumpkaboo might actually survive this turn if we are lucky. Though I wouldn't be surprised to see a Kuzma get on a Joltik, which I wouldn't mind too much. We shall see what happens here. We do see a Nest Ball, probably for a Trubbish, no for a Diancie. So now my opponent is dealing 50 damage with Sledgehammer. With a strong energy, that's 70 damage, but we do have fighting resistance, so my opponent requires a strong energy and a muscle band off of this Cold Rest to 5. Decent odds of finding one or the other, probably not very high to find both. Does find the stadium, right, which is a good thing for him. Does find the strong energy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And okay. So this is pretty okay, I would say. So my opponent sends us a broken heart. We'll send an actual heart back, and so I am going to have to end here. I mean, I need to find another DC, right? So I might as well. No matter what, I need another DC. So I'll attach the choice band there. I will Floatstone the Shaman, and then I really can't Sycamore here. That would be just outright suicide if I end here because of the discard of all the VS Eagers. I do find an energy, which is very nice. I also find teammates, which is great for next turn, right? Oranguru is also pretty useful. There is merit to playing the Primal City right now in order to, I guess, force my opponent to not have the Jirachi promotion to find a resource, although he doesn't have an escape board, so perhaps he won't be able to get a knockout. I don't know. I think Night Marching and saving the Primal City to see if I can discard my Shaman might actually be the better choice. And now 4 out of 4 prizes are Night Marcher, surprisingly. 4 out of our 4 prizes are Night Marchers, which honestly might be an issue. It honestly might actually become an issue. This Pumpkaboo will be the 6th Night Marcher in our discard pile, so we'll have to see what this teammate ends up getting. We see the Stellar Wish, which could have been avoided if I had played the Primal City. Though I think there's value in saving the Primal City to get rid of my own Shaman, as I mentioned. We do see the Ultra Ball. We do see the Ultra Ball. There's the other Ultra Ball. Well, there's the Ultra Ball rather, not the other Ultra Ball. It's probably the one he just grabbed. Discards Jirachi and Guzma. The Guzma is definitely not going to be too useful early on. It's going to be more useful later. It does grab a Garb, which we can KO Garb with just a DCE, so that makes me very happy. Right, that definitely makes me very happy. And we are going to see a Sycamore, so my opponent really needs A, a switching card, and B, a Rainbow Energy, or, well, any energy rather. We see the escape board, so there's the way to switch. I would not expect him to whiff energy at this point in time, right? Definitely would not expect him to whiff the energy. Off of the Sycamore, my opponent didn't lose too much. VS Eager, a Shrine, a Kuzma, and a Sycamore. The Guzma could be significant, but my opponent still has a bunch of VS Eagers. We see the Field Blower removing my tools. That definitely doesn't affect us here. Definitely not a big deal. It prevents me from promoting Shaman, but that's okay. I can just promote the Joltik. And thanks to the teammates, I'm definitely getting a KO this turn, right? Thanks to the teammates, I am definitely getting a KO this turn. I could actually play everything in my hand right now. And the Rescue Stretcher, potentially useful for next turn. I think I'm gonna Trainer's Mail first, see what I get. I do find a Compressor, which is great news. I will go ahead and play it, and then I'll get rid of a Pumpkaboo. That means we have 7 Night Marchers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so I will be able to get a KO. I will be getting rid of the Silent Lab. Don't think I'm gonna want to use that. And then I think keeping the Juniper is good. What else do we really not need? I might want to use Smart Shadow at some point to get rid of Shaman perhaps. The Electro Power I feel is definitely not going to be useful anymore. It is a card I can burn, but it's definitely not a card I want to draw. So I think those three will be the discarded cards. And then I will go ahead and special charge for those two. And 1, 2, 6, 7. I mean, I am guaranteed a Night Marcher from my prize cards, but I am not guaranteed a Joltik. So here's what I'm gonna do. I am going to go ahead and teammates. Definitely for a DC, and I actually think it could be for another Shaman or Let Loose. Or it could just be a VS Seeker, right? I do have Escape Rope as another way to switch out. So yeah, DC and VS Seeker seems pretty good. So I'll go ahead and play this. I think now is when I'm gonna play the Prowl CD. My opponent will probably just end up discarding the Diancie, seeing as Jirachi is useful and he doesn't want to get rid of the Trubbish and the Garb. There's the Diancie that's gone. And so I will go ahead and instruct for a single card, but every little bit helps, right? Every little bit helps. You get another prize card. We are able to keep up with the momentum. And wow, apparently I didn't count properly. We get Lele. So then there's 3 Night Marchers priced. 1 Joltik at 2 Lampens, which they are still my last 3 remaining prizes. I definitely would have preferred any other prize, but we'll see. We see a special charge, we see a Jirachi. For a VS Seeker, that makes sense. Everyone needs to find Puzzle plus Fighting or Rainbow to keep up the price straight here. There's a Rainbow, as expected. Then, if I have to use my Escape Rope, that sucks, right? Because I will not be able to. There's a teammate. I will not be able to eliminate the guy with the energy. Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. I might just end up having to use Let Loose Marshall. Like I very Seeker for teammates for the Escape Rope and a DC. I Rescue Stretcher back a Joltik. And then I play the Escape Rope. And then whatever I top deck, I Ultra Ball that plus a Lele for the Let Loose Marshadow. I believe that would be the right way to go about this. Or I Ultra Ball for the other Joltik, assuming my opponent's not playing Oricorio, right? That could be the game-winning card for my opponent, and it's definitely not something I can play around. At least not very successfully. And there's the Trash Challenge KO. My opponent is behind 2 prizes at this point. And then if I Escape Rope, he'll probably just promote the Puzzle or Trubbish, I would assume. Excuse me. And so I will top deck the Let Loose Marshadow. Okay. So I guess that answers my question on what I'll be doing. So I'll be a Seeker for teammates. Teammates for Escape Rope and a DCE. So I need to show those to my opponent, and I will go ahead and Rescue Stretcher, get back the Joltik, bench the Joltik, attach a DCE, play the Escape Rope. I mean, no need to hide the DCE, honestly. And then I could Ultra Ball for a Joltik. That might honestly be better than using Let Loose. Because then I can get 3 cards with the Oranguru, and I have guaranteed Joltik for next turn. Okay, my opponent sacrifices the Jirachi, which makes sense. Yeah, I think Ultra Balling for the Joltik is the right play here. And then my last prize could just be Marshadow, so I have enough attackers. This Joltik takes prize number 2. I mean prize number 3. This Joltik takes prize number 2. 2, and then the Marshadow GX just takes the last prize card for the win. 3 potentially very useful cards, especially the Dowsing Machine, because that could get me VS Eager for teammates, right? And there's a Lampent. It's a card I can discard for the Dowsing Machine, which is great. So yeah, things are looking good. I mean, we haven't missed a single beat. We got a turn 1 KO, and we have been able to get a KO every single turn afterwards, which is how you want to make this sort of decks work. My opponent cannot possibly be considering using Stomp Off here. No, he's gonna go ahead and use Kuzma, go after the Shaman. That's fine, because now I have guaranteed KO this turn. And I actually think I have to end my opponent this turn because of the potential threat of Oricorio. If he has Oricorio, he could KO both of the Joltics, and that's definitely something I want to avoid. My N is in the discard pile, so I'm gonna go ahead and attach, and then I'm gonna go ahead and use Dowsing Machine, discarding these 2. Now I don't need the extra Night Marcher in the discard pile, which is fine. I'll grab the N. My opponent will be down to 3 cards, and unless he finds Oricorio plus energy plus a way to switch, he shouldn't be able to win this match, right? And with this DCE, even if he finds Enhanced Hammer plus KO the active, I already have the DCE for my Joltik for next turn. If I bench the Shaman, I open a win condition for my opponent. I don't need more cards, so I'm not going to play the card. It is a card I can play. I could fill up my hand and be very close to just having access to every card I could want, but I don't need to do it this turn. I can do it next turn when it is safe. Yeah. So there's the Garb of the N2. My opponent does find the Garb, does attach an energy, which means that will be the game. Unless we see a random Enhanced Hammer, which I wouldn't be surprised, because Enhanced Hammer is definitely a useful card in that deck in order to remove flash energies from Pigorums, so that Buzzle can deal with them. But my opponent whiffs, and he recognizes that Joltik, the bench Joltik, would be able to close out the game. And so guys, Night March, it's back in full force. I don't expect it to show up in Greensboro in the same fashion, because now people are definitely a lot more aware of it, and at least I would definitely be heavily considering playing Oricorio in my deck just to have a safety net against Night March. But anyways guys, don't forget to leave a like, really helps out the channel. I don't know why today I am transparent, but thank you guys so much. I will see you guys next time, probably tomorrow, in a new video where we're gonna be analyzing a few other expanded decks in preparation for Greensboro next weekend. Thank you guys so much, and until next time, bye bye.